Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the OTT NetSuite Executive Breakfast this morning. It's a bit unfortunate that Mother Nature interrupted our in-person meeting, but thankful for the technology that we have that we can all, gather virtually here and still carry on with our event. So welcome this morning. We have about a dozen attendees on the meeting today. We will be recording the meeting as well, just to let you know on that. So a brief overview of our agenda for this morning. We will welcome and introduce our presenters today, go over a preview of who OTT is. Many of you know who we are, but for some of our guests today, they may not be as familiar. We'll go over a preview of NetSuite, the main focus of our breakfast meeting here this morning, give you some background on NetSuite as a company, high-level overview of the solution, and then we'll get into a short demonstration of the financials capability within NetSuite so that you have an opportunity to see what the solution looks like. And then for those of you that deal with inventory as a distributor or maybe a manufacturer, we will explore the enterprise resource planning and material requirements planning functions within NetSuite. And then we'll wrap up with any questions and answers that people may have. We do have prizes or gifts, I should say, for all of today's attendees. So after today's event, we will reach out to each of you individually and ask where you would like your gift to be sent to. And then we will get those sent out later this week or early next week. So you will get a nice little gift in the mail. In addition to that, we are going to have a grand prize drawing today. Two really nice prizes that we'll draw for. We're actually going to spin a virtual wheel online that you will all be able to see. Each of you have a spot on that wheel, and we'll find out who our two grand prize winners will be at the end of today's event. So presenters today, my name is Eric Sheehan, I'm CEO of OTT Inc. And pleased to have with us today, Sarah Britton is one of our senior NetSuite consultants. She has expertise in both NetSuite and Dynamics GP. And Ron Peterson is our manufacturing practice manager. He has expertise with NetSuite, Business Central, and Dynamics GP. And then we also have Claire Sheehan, Sales and Marketing Associate with us today that will be helping us towards the end of the presentation. So who is OTT? Just at a very high level, we're a technology consulting firm with roots in accounting. I'm a CPA. The majority of our team members have strong business, industry, and accounting backgrounds. We firmly believe that technology projects must be guided by business goals. Our company values are based on three core principles: outstanding service, execution, and delivering high value to you as a valued customer. We are partners or value-added resellers, some people use that term, with two of the leading software publishers in the business solution space. So with Oracle NetSuite, the topic of today's meeting, we are an emerging fast growth NetSuite solution provider partner. We've also been a Microsoft partner for many years, representing solutions from Microsoft. And last year, we were pleased to be recognized as one of the top 350 Microsoft partners in the United States. Solutions that we have to offer, our approach is that we feel that to be the best partner for you, we need to have expertise in all of the areas of your business. So with that, we offer solutions in the area of CRM, ERP, which is enterprise resource planning, which includes, accounting, inventory management, distribution, procurement, e-commerce, a lot of different things, payroll, HR, and then also integrations and customizations, because the solution out of the box, if you will, is not a 100% fit for everyone. And people may have different things that they want to integrate in or customize or tailor to meet their specific need. We have the team that can deliver that for you. The solutions that we offer, NetSuite, CRM, and ERP, which you'll learn more about here shortly. In the Microsoft world, Dynamics 365 Business Central, as far as ERP and accounting. And then on the sales and marketing side, we do 365 for sales, customer service, and marketing, along with Dynamics 365 field service. If any integration needs are part of your requirements, the primary integration platform that we offer is Tibco Cloud Integration from Tibco. It's a cloud-based, bidirectional, multi-directional integration platform that can connect various different systems together. So who is NetSuite? Today we're going to cover why NetSuite has been adopted by over 33,000 companies worldwide. One system suite, that's really what NetSuite is. It's a one system suite of CRM, ERP, e-commerce, MRP, payroll, HR, the list could go on and on, as you will see. So let's get into just an overview of NetSuite. So today we're going to focus on, how NetSuite fits in, today's business environment. Many of you are going through growth in your business. Growth isn't easy, and when it comes to growing and scaling a company or an organization, it's harder and harder to do. As the world's most widely deployed cloud ERP solution with thousands of clients who are successfully growing their business, NetSuite has learned a few things about this particular topic. So if we look at growth, there are a lot of things that can, contribute to growing your business. The first is a lack of focus, uncertainty, negative culture, uninformed decision makers, poor data quality. A big one is analysis by paralysis, where you're looking at data over and over and over, but you're really not coming to any conclusions with it. Disconnected workflows, and a real common one is addiction to spreadsheets. Having data throughout your organizations on all these different spreadsheets, data is not shared well and can create problems when you're trying to grow your business. All right, what are some of the market challenges to a growth path? Blind spots. There are things that can happen in an organization, such as flawed revenue mix. If you don't know where your revenue is coming from, who it's coming from, how that fits into your overall revenue percentage, insufficient business processes, maybe new competitors coming to the marketplace that you're going to face, and employee productivity. Some of the destabilizers that are totally out of our control, economic change, different localization gaps if you are in different countries or different parts of the world doing business, audits, government taxes, tariffs, regulations. Those are all things that can have a significant impact on the growth of your business. Other inflection points are evolving business models, new platforms, corporate social responsibility, and then something we're all familiar with today, a virtualized workforce. So NetSuite, it's trusted by over 33,000 customers worldwide. NetSuite can be a fit for any size of business, cover many different industries, and in virtually every different parts of the world. So here you can see just a small glimpse of some of the industry sectors like software, services, not-for-profit, manufacturing, retail, for example. And then underneath each of those headings, just some of the recognizable company names that fall into those industry sectors that are successfully using NetSuite to run their business. So just a few statistical things about NetSuite. It was the first cloud company. It is now owned by Oracle. Oracle had acquired NetSuite back in 2016, so now it's a global business unit of Oracle. Customers in 217 countries. They've experienced record growth, as we mentioned, 33,000 customers plus worldwide. And the most recent fiscal year, 22, that just finished up, they added over 6,000 new customers in the last 12 months. So NetSuite can be a blueprint for growth. It can give you visibility on where your business has been, where it's been, where it is today, and what the opportunity is for moving it forward for the future. And with it being a 100% cloud-based platform, it provides you the opportunity to grow with velocity, expand to new locations, new countries, new currencies, whatever it may be. And it's a very agile system. So as you face challenges and hurdles that you have to overcome, NetSuite will give you the tools to help you do that. So as we mentioned in the very beginning, it's a one suite system of business applications. So that's very important to note. If you look at the graphic on the right side of your screen where it says it's a single data source. So NetSuite is a single data source, single cloud, where everything that you are running in NetSuite resides in that cloud. Other solutions, in contrast, may have multiple clouds that you're running solutions from, and then you have to integrate them together with an integration tool, or some may have some on-premise components that integrate with a cloud system. Again, you're dealing with multiple data sets and then trying to integrate them together. Here, you don't need to do that. Everything is all in one solution. So if we look at how NetSuite is built, first, it's a unified cloud platform. It was built for the cloud and it's multi-tenant. It has what we call the Suite Cloud Platform. Basically gives you ease of customization, developing scripts, integrating to other solutions if you need to, all built within the platform. Components that it has, enterprise resource planning, financials, a lot of acronyms here, but professional services automation. So if you're a legal firm, an engineering firm, an accounting firm, consulting, you need professional services, supply chain management, omni-channel commerce partners, customer relationship management, human capital management, which includes payroll and HR as part of the system. And then BFN is built for NetSuite. There are third-party developers that may have a specific piece of functionality that is used to complement what NetSuite has to offer. There's over 300 of those companies that have solutions built specifically for NetSuite. The One World component here allows NetSuite out of the box, allows for multi-entity management or multiple companies, multiple book, can be different languages, different currencies, different taxes across, states or countries, and then all within a master data management within the suite. We already talked about industries. We'll talk a little bit more about that here shortly, but you can see just a small glimpse of industries that NetSuite can cover. And the list grows beyond that pretty significantly. And then business intelligence, machine learning, suite analytics, a lot of KPIs and dashboards that you'll see in the presentation, all right out of the box with NetSuite. So I mentioned earlier that NetSuite is a true cloud-based application. So if we look at, there's on-premise solutions, there's hosted solutions, and then there's true cloud. It's important to know the difference. Many of you are running Dynamics GP, which is an on-premise solution. It's on a server within your four walls of your business, for example. You have to manage that and keep it updated, upgrade your servers and so forth. That's an on-premise. Then we have hosted single tenant software as a service. So let's say you had Dynamics GP and you maybe don't have it on your own servers, but you've contracted with a third-party hosting company to have Dynamics GP installed there, and then you're accessing and running it in that fashion. That does not make Dynamics GP a cloud application. It basically is still your on-premise solution, but you've put it in a data center on a hosted server. You still have to upgrade the solution. The user interface of the solution has not changed. So that's what we call a hosted single tenant environment. Multi-tenant software as a service, which NetSuite is, that's a true cloud environment. There's little IT involvement, regular upgrades, new features. Everyone's always running on the most current version of the software, and you have no hardware costs. So those are the three different models. Automatic upgrades. So as you can see here, 100% of NetSuite's customers are on the same release. They come out with 2 major upgrades per year, and then ongoing minor upgrades throughout the year. There's a release preview environment. All your customizations, if you have any, are carried forward with the upgrade to the new version. And there are customer use cases that are incorporated into the QA testing. So they have a phased release with their upgrades where they, break the customer base into 4 areas as they roll out the upgrade. So here's the built for NetSuite, the BFN I referenced earlier. Wide selection of third-party apps, over 300 partners, over 300 apps that have been built to add some additional functionality to NetSuite. So if there is any type of gap in your requirements that we have with NetSuite, it's highly likely it can be filled with one of these suite apps. Suite Success is something that NetSuite developed, and it is a deployment of NetSuite that is geared towards a specific industry. And what it does, it reduces implementation time. They've pre-built analytics, for example, and some reports that are specific to an industry. So they've also changed some of the wording and things based on what it is. So if you're a not-for-profit, for example, you run your organization entirely differently than a for-profit business. So there is a version of NetSuite called NetSuite Suite Success Not-for-Profit Edition. Everything will be geared towards a not-for-profit organization, and all your analytics and KPIs and things like that will be displayed in a not-for-profit fashion on what's important for not-for-profits. Just as if you were a manufacturer, there would be another edition for you as a manufacturing company that would be built on Suite Success that would provide, the models that you need to be a successful manufacturing company. So if we look at how you can get started with NetSuite and then grow, because it does have applications for every part of your business. So when we get established with it, you can start with, core financials, which might be your general ledger, payables, receivables, banking. If you want to start with a little CRM and you have your analytics and dashboards. Then once you're getting ready to move forward with more things, maybe you start evaluating how can we manage our people, doing planning, budgeting, are we expanding to different geographies, takes you to the next level. And maybe you want to start getting into, requisitions or project management. You're just opening up and leveraging more of the tool set that's available within NetSuite. As you can see, it just keeps growing. You can grow into NetSuite and continue to use more and more things within the application. This screen here just gives you an idea of some of the modules. We're not going to dwell on this, but you can just see by each area some samples of the different modules that come with the solution. And then this is more on if you're dealing with inventory, distribution, manufacturing, some of the tools and modules that you will have available for you. And then we get into CRM, human capital management, which is payroll, HR, and then the project management components. So the Suite Cloud, this is a built-in platform. So if we look at the top, some of the capabilities, it is a global solution. It's a mobile solution, so you can run it on, tablets, watches, iOS, Android, whatever it may be. It's 100% browser independent. You'll see in one of the demos today the global search capabilities within NetSuite. With development and deployment, built-in analytics, KPIs, integration tools. And then from an operational and compliance, you can see that it's compliant with a lot of the different rules and regulations, not only in the United States, but other countries as well. And then users, it's a role-based system. So depending on who you are as a user and what your roles and responsibilities are in your organization, you may have a different view of NetSuite on how you use it every day compared to one of your colleagues on their role and how they use the system. So it's a common user interface across, but each user can build their own experience. So a business analyst might have a different role and view than, say, a CIO who's more concerned about risk and compliance and things like that. So you'll see how that works as well. So these are just some different screenshots that you can see, based on roles and users that will be available to you. Suite Analytics is part of the analytic tools within NetSuite. Again, some of the things that we can do, you'll see graphical analysis of your data, key performance indicators. It will have reminders, workflows, dashboards, integration to your office productivity tools. Again, you're seeing multiple industries that this is built in for, and then the different types of roles. So you see customers there as a role. There's actually a customer portal. There's a vendor portal, so you can interact with your customers through a portal directly with NetSuite. So they have visibility to, order status, shipment status, things like that. And then we talked about the analytics already and the different industries here. So out of the box, there are over 300 business intelligence components available. So you'll see a lot of the red, the green, the yellow, indicators showing warning areas, caution areas, areas that are going really well in your business. You'll be able to look at those and compare different periods of time as well. So there's 5 design pillars of NetSuite Financials. If we compare to Dynamics GP, you have a long structured like account strings for your chart of accounts. Things are done differently now in these new cloud-based technologies to make the data management more efficient. So the times of rigid code block has passed its time. Relevant and real-time data, you're dealing in real time. As you do a transaction, everything is updated in the system. We're not dealing with processing large batches of transactions at a time and having other parts of your system get updated once the batch is posted. You're dealing in a real-time environment here. Collaboration across the enterprise with all your different users, sharing the same data set is a very powerful thing in a technology solution. And then with the ability to expand and act not just locally, but if you're going to expand to other states or even to other countries, you are going to have the tools available to do that. And all in a well-controlled, regulated environment as far as compliance, taxes, all those types of things go. So NetSuite, just a few more numbers here. This is 217 countries, 27 different languages, 90 different bank payment formats, 190 plus different currencies, 100 plus different countries for tax calculation. So you're seeing they're covering a lot of different areas. Here's a shot of just like what a global enterprise might look like. So at the bottom, you can see different countries that you're doing business with, currency-wise, the region where your business may be located, and then a corporate worldwide headquarters. With the multi-company, multi-currency type system, you can report on any of these at any particular level. So you want a different performance report for the Americas, EMEA, and APAC, you can do that. Or if you want one all rolled up for your worldwide operations, you can do that as well. So very flexible when it comes to reporting. So this is a bit of a scary thought. If we look back, 23 years ago to Y2K, 52% of the Fortune 500 firms since 2000 actually no longer exist. A lot of that has to do with technology and strategy. So with Oracle, there are a couple different things here. Everything is built on the Oracle Cloud infrastructure with Oracle multi-tenancy, and an autonomous database, so that your data is safe, your data can be processed quickly, no matter where your business is located. Here are some of the data centers around the world where NetSuite is deployed in a multi-tenant environment, so you can see the different locations geographically. Some of the new things that NetSuite is working on, extending roles and industries within the application. So these are new things that you will see coming out. They keep adding more and more analytics to the system. Again, these will be industry-specific analytics in your suite success deployment of NetSuite. And then more on the analytics. So that's a brief kind of overview of who NetSuite is. So now what we will do is we will transition over to Sarah Britton, and Sarah will give you an overview of the financials in NetSuite so that you have an opportunity to see what the solution looks like. So let me make Sarah the presenter here. Okay, Sarah, you should be able to share your screen.
All right. Can you see my screen yet?
I see a Word document, not your, there we go.
Let's bring this over here then. Let's switch
Yeah,
this
we
over.
see Oracle
right,
NetSuite.
so you can see NetSuite then. It didn't let me pick which one to look at, so.
Nope, keep clicking here.
You can see NetSuite, right?
Not the home screen. I'm seeing there, like the home page for Oracle NetSuite.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is just, I was just gonna demonstrate this is how you would actually log into NetSuite here. So I'm just gonna click the login. It's pretty simple. I have it set up to remember my password and my username. So logging in brings me right into my, whatever role I was last logged into NetSuite as, it would bring me into the dashboard for that role. So this gives me, you know, a good overview of important action items and I guess where my business currently is performing. What you see here on your dashboard will really depend on what role you're logged in as. So you can see I have in this company, the ABC company, I have multiple roles that I can use to log in. Each one of those roles is going to give me a dashboard that would be configured for that specific role. So I could, you know, depending on what I'm doing on a specific day, log in as a different role. Otherwise, I think what a lot of people do is they just kind of work within one role as it's assigned. So the roles are part of a security structure of NetSuite, and then it determines what screens you also can use, or what also you'll see up here along the top navigation bar. Logged in as that role will determine what you will see there as well. Just going to kind of take a look here at what these different sections are of the dashboard. So again, this can be completely configured. You can configure your own dashboard, or you could create dashboards that can be pushed out company-wide for specific user groups. So on the left here is my reminders dashboard. Reminders dashboard, again, is configurable. So I can come in here, I can set up this reminders dashboard. I can choose what I want to see in this reminders dashboard. So it's not only a reminder here, but I can also click on any one of these. It will bring me into that specific function to complete what needs to be done here. So this says 20 bills to pay. If I click on this 20 bills to pay, I'm just going to click it and open it up in a new tab. It's going to pop up and show me the list of all the bills that need to be paid. So it's a quick and easy way to navigate throughout the system and telling me what needs to be completed. This navigation shortcut group, this is specific to the role that I am logged in as. So as a controller, NetSuite is telling me that these are the things that are important to my business or my functions as a controller. I have different setup. I can go into, items, vendors, customers, transactions, and then reports as well. A lot of these other ones are just different KPIs that kind of tell me a little bit more about how my business is functioning in the specific time period that is associated with the little KPI node here. So I can go in here and I can change what time period we're speaking about. If I want to look at quarterly numbers, I can look at quarterly numbers. So again, this can be rearranged as needed. If I want to move this up so that I have a better visibility into my financials overview, I can move that all the way up to the top if I wanted. You can change so much about NetSuite, not only the way the dashboard looks, but you can also change all of this coloring if you wanted to. It's very specific to, I guess, whatever you want it to be. So if I want this top bar to be red and, you can really change it to whatever you want to customize it to fit your needs. Along the top, I know that Eric had mentioned earlier the global search feature. So what's really nice about this is a global search bar. It is available no matter where you navigate to in NetSuite. You can search for things such as transactions. You can search for records like vendor, customer. You can search for really anything in here. To do that, you can either just start typing a number, so if I start typing 100, it's going to bring up all the transactions that match that number that I just typed in. So I can see that there's a bill 100, a bill payment for 100, and then a journal entry JE 100. If I wanted to just bring up any journal entries that match that number, I could do set that with a prefix here, and then it's going to bring up just the journal entries. Same thing with like vendors or customers. Let's say if I wanted to look for anything that had blue in it. Actually, let me look at anything that has cloud in it. So you can see here, when I type in cloud, it's going to bring up a whole bunch of stuff. So I can have, the contact that's associated with that vendor. There's different sales tax item. If I want to specifically look for a vendor, I can type in VN and cloud, and it'll bring up just the vendors. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with this, with the global search feature. So now if I hover over this cloud consulting vendor, I can either click edit to go into the vendor record and edit, or each vendor record has its own dashboard. So all of our vendors and customers have their own little dashboard that can also be configured. So let's go and take a look at that vendor dashboard. So when I go into the vendor dashboard, you can see here it's for cloud consulting. I can take a look at the vendor information along the left here. I can edit this if I wanted to. If I hit view or edit, it's going to bring me into that vendor record. Along the right here is some KPIs for the vendor. So I haven't had a lot of activity with the specific vendor for this year, but I can see that information if I did have activity with that vendor. Here's the vendor dashboard links, so I can look at different reports for the vendor. I can complete different activities for that vendor. And then down here would be all of the transactions that were associated with that vendor. So I could go in if I wanted to see all of the payments that I had associated with that vendor. It would show up right down here in this transactions. So similar to the vendors, the customers also have dashboards associated with them. I'm just going to bring you into the customer list here. So this is a customer listing of all the customers that are set up in NetSuite. This customer list can be customized. So I can go in here, I can look at, these are all the different views that are currently available for this customer list. I can come over here and select a different view if I want to take a look at, different information. Otherwise, if I click on the customize view, I can choose exactly what columns I want to see here, or what columns I don't want to see, what order they're in, what filters are available for the list as I'm seeing it here. So there's just a lot of ways to set this up that best works for your business. The NetSuite also has what's called this inline editing. So inline editing is the ability to go into any list feature here. So for example, I'm in the customers, and any column that has this little pencil next to it, as long as this edit button is enabled, so I can disable it or enable it. As long as it's enabled, I am able to make edits right from the list without having to go into the vendor or customer record. So for example, if I wanted to change the name on this anonymous, I can change it right here rather than having to hit on this edit button and going directly in there. So anything that has the little pencil is editable right from this list rather than having to go in. So if you're doing some sort of a mass change, it's a lot easier to make those changes right from a list rather than going into each one of the records. As you can see here on the list, each of the customers each has their own dashboard as well. See if we can find one that has some information in it. I'm going to go ahead and click on this black dragon dashboard, and we're going to go into the dashboard for that customer. So the dashboard for the customer is a little bit different than the employee, and that's been configured by my company. The transactions are right here on top. So, whereas the last vendor I looked at didn't have any transaction, this customer has quite a few transactions. So I can come in here and look at this transactions list for the customer. If I want to pull it up for a specific transaction type, let's say I want to just pull up invoices. I can pull up the invoices, and then I can look at the invoices for that account. I can either hit the edit here to go in there, or if I click on the view, it's going to bring up that invoice transaction for me to be able to look at it. All right, so that's kind of, a general overview of navigation and kind of the general features. I can also go into looking at a little bit more closely some of the transactions and how to process within NetSuite. NetSuite is a little bit different from, just for example, I'm used to GP. So it differs from GP in the fact that the chart of account structure is quite a bit different. In GP, you basically have a string of numbers that indicate, sometimes the department would be a segment, location would be a segment, and then you've got your natural account, which is like 1,000 for assets, 2,000s for liabilities, so on and so forth. The way that NetSuite actually handles the chart of accounts is a bit different in the fact that your basic chart of accounts is going to be just your natural account segment. So you're going to go in here and create a chart of accounts with just that natural account segment. As I said, like your 1,000s would be your assets and your 2,000s would be your liabilities. And you set this up so that there are parent and child accounts, and that kind of helps you create your financial statements that will roll up into the totals. So you can see here I have my 1,000 as cash, and below that 1,000 cash I have multiple cash accounts with different numbers. Well, what that's telling the system is these are all sub accounts of the cash account, so it's going to roll up into the cash. So you can see over here my balance I have my specific balances for each one of those cash accounts. But then if I look at my total or my parents account, that's the sum of all of the child accounts underneath that cash account. So you have this main account segment as basically your chart of accounts. And then along with that, you set up these different segments in NetSuite for like your department and your class. Now, typically, whereas those would have been numerical in GP, the thing that kind of happens in NetSuite is that you start using words rather than numbers for those segments. So I'm just going to kind of give you an example here. If I go into, let's see here. Actually, that's not where I want to go. If I go into the journal entries, this is a standard journal entry for this type of account. When I say that, you can really customize the form account to be what you want it to be. So, you know, I can have multiple different forms that are available here as I'm entering in journal entries. So I have this journal entry and then I have the standard journal entry. You can rearrange the fields that are here. You can add fields, you can remove fields, you can make fields mandatory. You can do a lot of different things in these forms to set it up to make it most productive for your company and to track the information that's important for your company. So right now, the things that I'm entering may not be relevant to your company, so you can create your own that makes it a little bit more. Like for instance, if you don't have multiple subsidiaries, you obviously wouldn't have to enter a subsidiary here. This is just a memo. The posting period, that will kind of default from the date of the transaction, but you can certainly change that posting period. This would be if you have a reversal date and you want to reverse that entry, you can put in a reversal date. So down here, this is where I'm actually entering in my information. So you don't have to, the nice thing about NetSuite is that you can either enter a transaction by number or you can start typing in the account description as well. So you can see here I have account 6210, which is, you know, expenses, and then it's salaries and wages. I can either type in the 6210 and have that account come up, or I can start typing any part of that description and that account will come up as well. So it's a little bit easier. You don't have to necessarily remember exactly which account number things are. So it's newer, you know, it's a little bit easier, I think, for new people coming in. So if I select that account, I can come in over here and either put in my debit or my credit. I can put in a line description if I wanted one here. And then this is where the department, class, and location come in. So that's what that's called, or these different segments are called in this environment, but you can rename those options. You know, if I wanted to call class maybe profit center or something else, I can rename that. If I don't have 3 segments, I can disable one and only have 2 available. I can make these required if I want to on the transaction, so that anytime I enter in an account, I need to have a department, class, and location. I can make just 1 required. There's just so many different things that I can do, but basically what you're doing is you're filling in this department, class, and location list with the ones that are specific to your company, typically not numerical, but you're going to be putting in, you know, the full entry here. So I can start typing in here department, administration, class is class A, and location is sublocation, location 1. So if I add that, and then I can add, you know, the credit line of that transaction as well. I can go in here and look at, you know, my balance on here. So right now I just have 5,000, so I'm out of balance by $5,000 because there's only, you know, I haven't entered a credit amount yet. The nice thing also about NetSuite is GP is very rigid in the fact that once you post a transaction, that transaction is posted and you can't really modify it or fix it or do anything like that. You have to kind of void it and then re-enter it. With NetSuite, you are able to make changes to transactions or edit those transactions. So let me just put this in here. I know that this transaction doesn't make any sense, but I'm not going to put anything in for the department stuff for that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save here. It's going to create a journal entry number, so it doesn't actually assign it a number until I hit the save or create. Now I have the JE133. Once that entry is created, and let's say, oh, you know what, I really should have assigned a department to the fixed assets, I can go back into this journal entry by clicking the edit, and I can go back into that line and assign that department and hit OK. Now, when I do that, NetSuite keeps an audit trail of all of the changes that were created or done to that journal entry. So it's not like I can just go in there and change things and there not be history of the way that it was. I would be able to tell on this transaction what was changed, when it was changed, and who it was changed by. Because it keeps track of all of those changes and what was done here. I'm going to go into a little bit of the reporting so you can kind of see how the reporting works with this. So if I go into, let's go into my income statement here and how this works as far as the different segments and how you can report on that. So if I come into the income statement here, this is just the standard income statement. I can change my date periods down here. So if I wanted to report just on January, I could change this to January. If I go over here to this little more button here, I can expand this a little bit more. And then I can choose, say if I just want to report on the administration department. I can come over here and say, okay, this report income statement, I want to see just for admin. So if I hit OK and hit the refresh, it's going to rebuild this income statement for anything that was associated with the administration department. So any transactions that had that on there, it will now report on the financial statement. I can go back in here and report these on all. And then if I want to see the information associated with the department by column. So if I go over here and if I hit department for my column and hit the refresh, what it's going to show here is all of those different departments in their different columns. And if I want to just see, let's say, administration and marketing, I could select just those two, and then it would recreate that income statement with just those two columns. I can drill into any one of these. So if I want to see a little bit more information on what is in this advertising account for marketing, I can click on the number and it's going to bring it in here to show me all the transactions associated with that. And I can click here to go back to summary. Down here in the lower right corner, I can choose to expand or collapse. So if I wanted to collapse another level here, it's just going to bring me up another level, and then I can expand from here. I can make this into some sort of a graph if I wanted to. I can export this into Microsoft Excel. I can create a PDF right from here, export the PDF. I can make it into a CSV or export it to Word. I can also print from here, I can email, or I can actually schedule this report to run on its own. So if you start with a good structure for your chart of accounts, it makes these financial statements super easy to create and to run. They can be customized as well. So I can click on this customize. I can, add in columns for budget. I can add in columns for comparative to last year or 2 years. There's just a lot of different things that you can do in here as far as reporting goes. NetSuite also has the capability to import CSV records. So I'm not sure, as an example, again, I go back to GP. You have GP and you have Integration Manager that allows you to import in transactions. NetSuite has its own import tool that is actually, I think, a lot easier than Integration Manager. You can create those integrations and have them set up there for easy access the next time that you need to integrate. Where that might come in handy is, let's say that you use a different third-party application for your payroll and you import a journal entry every time that you're in payroll. You can create a CSV integration to bring that import in. NetSuite also has an automatic bank feeds application, so you can connect, if your bank is listed as one of the connecting partners, you can connect into your bank transactions and it will feed over the transactions into NetSuite automatically. So you're not running, electronic bank reconcile on a monthly or weekly basis. It's just coming over automatically. I'm trying to think if there's something else that I should definitely cover. Let me just mention real quick the workflow that comes along with NetSuite. So NetSuite does have some out-of-the-box workflows that can be implemented. Those workflows could be approvals for purchase orders, approvals, I think, for accounts payable transactions. So you can have those workflows set up to route approvals throughout the system. If there's not an out-of-the-box one, you can create a workflow on just about any transaction in NetSuite. There's one thing I was going to mention too, besides the workflow. It was, oh yes, the ability to attach documents as well. So in each record in NetSuite, you can attach any document that you need. So if you need to attach a W-9 to a vendor, you can attach that W-9, upload it into NetSuite, and then it's available to view on that vendor record. So I think I'm getting close to the end of my 25 minutes. So I think maybe I will switch over to Ron at this time, Eric.
Yes, thank you very much, Sarah. If you can, are you able to click and make Ron presenter? If not, I think I might be able to.
I think so. Yep.
All right. So Ron Peterson will cover more of the inventory distribution, manufacturing capabilities of NetSuite. So welcome, Ron.
Hello. All right, let me see here. Just make sure we're sharing, see the right monitor. I think it is. So if I show my screen.
Yes, we see the NetSuite homepage. You're good.
Awesome. All right. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We're going to take a look today at some manufacturing and distribution functionality. Since every manufacturer is a distributor at heart. So just a little bit of foundation setting. Some of this may be review. Sarah may have talked about it. As far as navigation, you may see me navigate a couple of different ways. We have the cascading menu here where we can go and look at different things in different sections. There's the global search where we could type an order if we wanted to, or an invoice number, or a customer's phone number, or something, which we would get it there. We could get to it that way. There is a shortcuts that just like a favorites, just on your bookmark, and also a recent records. So NetSuite also tracks a list of places that you've been. So if you, oh, I need to go back to that sales order, or I need to go back to that invoice, I don't remember which one it was, you can see it in the list here. So as Eric mentioned, NetSuite provides a number of these pre-configured packages. They're Suite Success Editions. I'm using one that's pre-configured for manufacturing. Again, there are many others, not-for-profit, financial services, retail, restaurant, a whole bunch of them. And that just means that a lot of the things are pre-configured. Terms, a general ledger, the dashboards, the reports. There's a whole lot of things to get you off, get you up and running, and get you off of the implementation stage and using the product quickly. So that being said, the first thing that we can look at here is just the roles. And I know Sarah looked at the roles, but just gonna want to show you that there are a lot of them. And whatever one that you're looking at, the home page is going to be tailored to that. So everything from purchasing manager to production manager to accounting roles. You can even see there's a contract. There is a contract manufacturing role. So if you have outside manufacturers, you can actually give them access to go in and update the things that they're working on, and only the things that they're working on, either the order that they're working on, or the fact that they're shipping an order back to you, or that they've received an order, received product, things like that. So it's very good when it comes to managing the entire supply chain. Okay. So what I'm looking at here is a role for the purchasing manager, and I think we can all sort of relate to purchasing as a role. So we can see over on the left-hand side here are the reminders. These are the things that all of these things here help you be more proactive instead of reactive on a day-to-day basis. So we can see contracts that are expiring, POs that we need to approve, vendor returns that we have to approve, orders that we're due to receive today, things that are going to ship out as returns, and they're color coded. So if there are issues, things that you should look into, we've set up different ranges and said, well, this amount is red and other amounts are green. So we can really key in on things that that are issues. So we have the tiles of main things that we want to go to on a normal day. So we're going to look at the supply plan, or we're going to order items, or I'm going to create a purchase order, or look at all of the open purchase orders. So those are front and center. We could move these around if we needed to. The dashboard is quite large. Again, there's a navigational shortcut. So based on the role, so if we wanted to go to different parts of the system quickly, set up that right here. But of course, since this is a manager role, there's a lot of analysis web parts here. So we can see key performance indicators of what is our trend of shipping cost and our inventory trend, and the trend of open purchase orders, is that going up or down, and as well as all of these other things here is inventory quantities and sales trends and shipping cost trends, as well as snapshots of reports, balances of AP or gross profit, inventory aging, or inventory quantities. As you can see, just lots and lots of things. And if there are many that aren't even being shown, that we can drop in or take out if we don't need. So if there's something that you need that's not on a dashboard, we can just come in here and then just drop it on the dashboard. Okay. So again, lots of KPIs, how is inventory trending? How are late purchase orders trending? All kinds of things that you can take a look at. Okay, so since this is it's technically a manufacturing demo presentation, we'll switch over to another role. I'm going to switch over to the production manager role. Again, it's a lot of the same web parts, just laid out a little different with different information in it. So again, with the reminders, this is the production role again. So we have orders that we need to fulfill, orders that we need to pack, to ship, orders that are coming in, work orders that are ready to build, work orders that are past due. So these are obviously things we need to jump on. But there's like an issue with them, they're behind schedule. So again, navigation and key performance indicators. You can also see here there's capacity. So we have a quick indicator that shows us the capacity of the work centers. I don't have a whole lot of orders in here, but it would call out work centers that are overloaded. And then we can use the task rescheduler. It's a visual drag and drop rescheduling tool to move things around, which we'll take a look at a little bit later. Okay, so let's we've kind of get a high level overview of roles and dashboards and things. Let's just take a look, dive in and take a look at the product. So where to start? Well, how about inventory? That's kind of the base of all distribution. So if we take a look here at lists, we can just navigate over to accounting and items. So that's where they keep items. And if I click new, this will give me the opportunity to create a new item. So where GP has the ability to create a sales inventory item, a flat fee, a miscellaneous, those types of things, NetSuite really gets more granular. So you can set up assembly items. So these are items that you make. So this is a type of item. There's a description item. Doesn't have any quantities. It's just a holding place for descriptions. Discount items for tracking discounts. Inventory items. These are things that you buy. And of course, these could be lot or serialized as well. There are two kinds of kits. There's groups and kits, same, but yet a little bit different. And then of course, some non-inventory items. We can set up items, non-inventory items that we would use on the purchasing side or on the sales side or both. And same as charge items and service items. So lots and lots of different items, different item types, which allows you to more accurately analyze what's happening and how your items are transacting. So if I want to take a look at items, I can just come up here, go back to lists, accounting, and instead of going to new, I'm just going to click on items. And then we can see a list of all of the items. Now, a lot of times when I'm first exposing NetSuite to GP users, they're like, well, we sort of live and die by smart lists. Does NetSuite have smart lists? Well, not technically have smart lists, but it has something that's even better, which are these lists. So I know Sarah talked about it a little bit, but these really can be used as smart lists. So you can set up really the same kind of lists and querying and sorting and parsing as you can in smart lists. You can here. You just go in and customize the view, and you can slice and dice and view and save that view for yourself so that you can come back in and look at it whenever you want, and then of course export it to Excel. So you can see just right out of the box, we're looking at all of the items. And you can see here, it even knows that these items belong to these other items. So it's this list of all items still is even indented by bills of material, for example. But if we just look at the assembly items, things that are made, we can come in here and we can see that that these are the items that I have set as assembly items. And again, as Sarah mentioned, if you want to make adjustments to them, you can just click on the edit and you can come in here and quickly make any kind of adjustments. If I go in and look at this item, just click edit and get an idea of what an item looks like. Here it is. So there's a lot of information in here, and it's grouped. So this first group is primary information, just the naming conventions of the items, and then the segmentation, as Sarah mentioned, is what department and what class of items and where does this usually belong, what locations. And then in the item detail here, if you have different plants, scattered across Minnesota or across the country and you want to manage them separately, you can assign items to belong to one or more of the plants. And then if you're scheduling items in work orders, they can have attributes which can help determine how and when and in what order things get scheduled. So with the units of measure, we have a base unit of measure, but then we can break it out lots of different ways. So how do we sell it? How do we consume it on work orders? How do we purchase it? How do we stock it? All of those things could be different. So then we get to this blue bar here, and every one of these is a sort of a tab of information. And this purchasing inventory is kind of the largest one, but we can look at, do we track landed cost here? How many do we have on hand? Do we drop ship this item? Do we special order this item? That means anytime that we need it, we create a purchase order for it. We don't stock it. Some manufacturing information here, and then inventory management. So how do we manage this item? Do we manage it in bins? Is it a reorder point item? Is it time phased? Is it an MRP item? And then other things like, do we want NetSuite to auto calculate the lead time automatically based on what it's historically seeing? Do we want it to automatically update the reorder points based on historical transactions? The stocking level, the safety stock, we can tell NetSuite to actually go back in and use its artificial intelligence and predict what these should be. Now, we generally turn these off at the beginning of an implementation since there isn't any historical data, but it's really a handy feature for managing what these should be, what these stocking levels should be. All right, so then we come down here and we can see that, just sort of expanding on this inventory management, we can see that at each location, and again, these could be internal locations, they could be plants, but we're tracking all of this inventory information here per location. So what's the stocking level? What's the lead times? What's the sizing methods that we're using? What's the supply type? Do we build this or do we buy it when we need it? The demand fencing, available to promise lead time here. And then other things like the count intervals. It has a cycle counting module and says, well, this should be counted once a week or once a month. And when is the next counting date and what classification is this? And there are reports and reminders that will run that will tell you this, you should do a count today and these are the items that should be out. So lots of information in here regarding inventory management and quantity management. So a couple other things in here. If we look at this manufacturing tab, we can see that there's a place to store bills of material. We can have as many bills of material as we want. We can look at this bill of material, and this is the name of this bill of material for this item, named differently. Then we can have as many revisions for this bill of material as we want. So the actual component list is stored in the revision of the bill of material. So if I look at the revision, this will open up. We'll say these are the 3 items that are used to make this bill of material. Okay. And also routings. So it has a bill of material, and since we make it, we actually have a routing for it, and it has a number of steps. They happen at a work center that has capacity constraints. There's resources associated with it, and setup and runtime. So we can get very detailed in here into all of the steps that need to happen, and all of the and then we can even assign what components are used at each operation. Okay, so we're not going to go over all of these, but I think some of these are kind of interesting. If we look at the inventory detail, we can see the list of the inventory numbers. These are the tracking numbers, either serial or lot numbers, just the tracking numbers of the items and what bins they are in. And again, you can customize this search to act like a smart list, so you can see right where everything is. If you're looking for a serial number or looking for a lot number, what location and bin that it's in. There's also this item 360, and all master records have that. So the customer has that, the vendors have that, the items have that, many things have that. And we can get well, for lack of a better word, a 360-degree view of this item. So we could see everything from what open sales orders is this on right now? What work orders is this on, and what are the status of them? What's the projected supply? What are the purchase orders that it's on? Everything that we need to know about this item could be listed here in this this item 360. Okay. Right. So from here, let's see. From here, I think what I'll do is take a look at this list here, and we can see, for example, some of the, so if we go into transactions, inventory, since we're kind of limited on time, I really can't go into a whole lot of specific transaction information, but I do want to point out sort of the breadth of the things that NetSuite can do and the pieces of functionality that it has. So if I'm in transactions here and into inventory, we can see, all of the different things that we can transact. So we can adjust inventory. Of course, that's very straightforward. Create an inventory count, which is cycle counting. We can do we can create bin put away worksheets. We can transfer inventory. And I'll note here that this transfer inventory just basically does a normal GP inventory transaction, moves it from one location to the other, but a transfer order is actually a formal document to process, simply sort of like sales orders. So if you need to ship a product to another plant, for example, or ship an item to a contract manufacturer or to an outsourced manufacturer, the transfer orders are leveraged, and that's the ability to move an item to somewhere else and create picking, packing slips to move something and actually ship items from one location to another. Okay, you can also look at ordering items here. So we did talk a little bit about the different inventory management pieces, but if I click on order items, for example, it says, okay, so based on how you have items set up, whether or not it's MRP or reorder point, time phased or reorder point, NetSuite is going to assist you in what you need to purchase. So right now I'm looking at all locations and all vendors, but I could restrict that. But what it's doing here is just showing me these are the items that you need to buy and why. So these are the items that I've marked time phased that need to be purchased. And these are the reorder point items. So for example, this item here, there are 23 available. My reorder point is 40. There's one on order, so I need 16. Here I need 500. We could type in the quantity that we actually need and then check the box and hit submit. And we can either just create them and they'll be in the background, all listed for us, or we can just email them, or print them, or fax them directly right from this window. Okay, so we've looked a lot at a lot of the sort of the breadth of on the inventory side. Let's look over here at the manufacturing side. So manufacturing, there's a lot of functionality here. We have the ability to create work orders and assemblies. So with NetSuite, a work order is a more formal document that allows you to create a work order and schedule it and have a routing and collect data, labor data, and issue material to it. And an assembly is just like a quick manufacturing order. I just want to, post-production reporting. I just want to tell the system that I built it. If you go into mass create work orders, I can just come in here, and it looks similar to the purchasing. So based on the reorder point or time phasing or any of the requirements that are out there, we can actually look at what NetSuite is suggesting and then automatically create these just simply by checking the box and hitting submit. So we have work orders. If we want to look at a quick work order I have work order 48 here. And I'm going to open up in a new tab. Excuse me. We can see that we have a work order here for this assembly. It's using this bill of material. We want 50 of them, start date, end date, and we have the ability to issue components and enter completions, backflush, and as well as manage the items that go into this work order. And if we wanted to, we can also print a traveler. So just simply clicking a button, automatically click this traveler. It's integrated with barcodes already so that you can quickly scan the sequence and enter the information. The piece is complete, the time that you're using, those types of things. Okay, so if I go back to transactions, manufacturing again, create manufacturing orders, issue components. NetSuite also has the ability to unbuild assemblies. So in GP, you can unbuild a manufacturing order under certain circumstances, as long as it's still there and you haven't done anything with it, you can unbuild it. But this is quite powerful. Sure, you can unbuild a work order that you have created. I mean, maybe you made a mistake and you want to just unbuild it and start over. You can certainly do that. Or if you purchase a motor from a vendor, for example, and they give you a motor, you buy a single motor, you can actually put that motor in the unbuild assemblies work order, and you can then unbuild it and create all of the components that it's made up of, and put them into stock for repair or resale or whatever you need. It's quite powerful. I promised I would look at the task scheduler. So there is a manufacturing task scheduler here. I don't have a lot of orders in the system, but you'll get an idea. When the production manager comes in here, they'll immediately see the work orders that are out there, if they've been started or not, if they've been assigned or not, assigned to users, meaning they've been dispatched, the traveler's been printed and that's been given to somebody to start, and whether or not there's a conflict. So if we don't have enough capacity, we can move things around here. So, and all I need to do is just grab this and move it to another day or move it to another work center, and simply do that. And the entire work order behind the scenes is being rescheduled and moved to another date. And there we go. All right. So let's. So the other thing that I wanted to point out is demand planning, and I'm going to just switch back to the purchasing manager.
Ron, if you can, like, just a couple minutes wrap up, that'd be
Yep.
good. Take
Yep.
time for a few questions.
Yep, almost done here. So last thing is NetSuite has a very powerful demand planning module, I guess, which allows us to specifically manage how we run the supply and the demand of any given item. So if we look at the item demand plans here, we can see how we have configured these items. These items have been configured to be for their demand to come from sales forecasts, or come from a moving average, or come from linear regression. And if we look at each one of these, this can be imported from a spreadsheet, but what is the forecast that's associated with this, and what's the interval, and how much history do we use to develop this? The other thing that the last thing that I want to point out is the engineering change. Engineering change. It does have an integrated engineering change. Oops. Purchasing manager can't go into the engineering change order. But that being said, we can go to the engineering change order module, and we can see that we have the ability to create an engineering change, route it around, tell the system what needs to happen to the bill of material. Do we need to add items, remove items, replace items, the date that happens, the costs, and it will track all of these changes and then update the bills of material out into the into the rest of the system. So there's probably a whole lot more that I could say, but we'll just turn it back to Eric to wrap up for questions and giveaways.
Okay, thank you very much, Ron, for the good presentation. At this time, we'll see if anyone has any questions. Two ways that we can do that. Number one, you can just unmute yourself, ask the question, and we will respond. Or if you would like to put a question in the chat box on the toolbar for GoToWebinar, we will address the question that you have and repeat it back for everyone and answer it. And if we don't have any questions, it's also an option just to reach out to one of the presenters individually, and we can take your question that way as well.
Do you want to be the presenter again, Eric?
Actually, you can make Claire the presenter. We'll just move on to our two grand prize giveaways.
Okay. All right, there we go.
So we have two grand prizes. We have a wheel we're going to spin to get the first winner. The first winner is not eligible to win the second prize. So we'll take the first winner's name off the wheel for the second spinning of the wheel. So Claire, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, are you able to see the wheel on my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So like Eric mentioned before, each one of you guys will be receiving a prize. The first prize that everybody will receive is a 4-pack of Apple AirTags, which are like small tracking devices that you can either put on your luggage, keys. A lot of people actually put them on their pets' collars, so if they ever get loose, you'll know where they are. So each one of you will be receiving one of those, and then let's see here. The first grand prize we are going to do is an Amazon Alexa Echo Dot, which is a home speaker. It kind of acts as a Siri. So we will click to see who wins that. All right, Seth, looks like you are the winner for that. Congratulations. And then the second grand prize we have is a pair of Apple AirPod Pros. So we will go ahead and spin for that.
I think you forgot my name, Claire.
All right, Matt S. Congratulations. And so we will reach out to get your guys' addresses or wherever you would like these items sent. Either Eric or one of us will reach out to you with that.
Okay,
all right.
Thank you, Claire. And wanted to thank everyone for your time this morning. I hope the event was educational for you. And again, any questions that you have, just reach out to us directly. You can enter a request through our website at ott-inc.com, or you can find one of us via email as well. So thank you and have a great rest of your day, and stay safe with the winter storm.